have to go through the roll call, so.
That's fine.
Okay, so we will officially call the meeting to order, the special meeting of the City of Erie Historic Review Commission, scheduled for August 23rd, 2023, 1 p.m. in City Council chambers. Officially called to order at 1:09 p.m. We'll start with going through the attendance. Craig Pepper? Present.
Yes, I'm present.
Dave Brennan?
Yes.
Mark Tannenbaum?
Yes.
Well, I'm here. Jeff Zalonis? Present on Zoom. And then we have non-voting members, Jason Wazorek, absent, and Chris Kinder, present. So we do have a change to the agenda, which we want to quickly make note of at the beginning. Chris, you want to update us on the adjustment?
Yes, so as of this morning, we had to pull, I don't remember what letter it was on the original agenda, but it was the application for Sarah Nelson. It had to be pulled. This comes through the solicitor in the mayor's office because it is a conflict of interest.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, are there any other changes?
Yeah, here she was.
Okay, then we will begin by jumping into the agenda itself. So the first item on the agenda, we have, well, let me back up a minute. So today we have 12 applications we will be formally reviewing and or making decisions on. So the first one is Rick Filippi at 519 West 9th Street. This project is exterior painting and gutter work. You'll remember that Rick attended our August 7th meeting and spoke about the project. The total project cost is $18,650. They are requesting the full $15,000 amount possible and will contribute $3,650, which exceeds the required 10% match.
Correct.
Are there any additional questions pertaining to this application? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
I entertain we approve.
I
We have-
second.
We have a motion by Mark, a second by Craig. Any further discussion on this application? Hearing none, all in favor of approving, please signify by aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, project passes. The next application we have is Dan Wolf, 421 West 7th Street. This is for chimney repair. His request, or total project, is $13,489.50. He's requesting $12,140.25, and it will pay $1,349.25 as part of the required 10% match.
Melinda, I'm sorry. Did you, my thing says it's West 6th Street. Is it West 7th?
He has two applications.
Oh, okay. So he's in here twice.
He should be in there.
Yeah, 421.
Oh, maybe they're together. Wait a minute.
It was 13,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's my fault.
No,
and it was
that's all right.
1349.
Here we go.
50.
Here's the 421 South. There, I got it.
Was
So
the
the-
estimate? I'm so sorry.
The total project is
$13,000.
$13,489.50.
Yes.
The grant then, minus the required match, would be for $12,140.25.
Yes.
Okay.
Hearing no questions, we'll entertain a motion to approve the application as presented in the amount of $12,140.25.
I move that we do that.
Motion by Craig, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the motion to award this grant, $12,140.25, please signify by aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. The next application is also from Dan Wolf. We should note that we did entertain applications from multiple applications from property owners, but for different properties. They had to be different properties, just to reinforce that. So this is Dan Wolf, again, 408 to 410 West 6th Street. This is the West 6th Street address. We have roof replacement as the project. The total project cost, $9,442.50, requesting a grant in the amount of $8,498.25.
I move that we approve it.
Motion by Craig to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mark. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next application is Kimberly Niemand. We have 805 Park Avenue South. The project is exterior painting. The total project cost is $10,950. And the requested amount is $9,855.
Okay.
Any questions or follow-up pertaining to Kimberly Niemann's?
Looks like it really needs it.
Well, you want to make a motion then?
Yes, I would like to move that she get all the work she wants done, and it'll look great afterwards.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Moving on to Trevor Thompson, 106 West 41st Street. This is for masonry repair. The total project is $13,456.60. The request amount is $12,110.30.
I move we do it.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Sarah Nelson, 646 West 9th Street.
We
Yeah,
pulled
that's
that.
pulled.
So sorry.
I have Pineapple Eddie.
You do indeed. Pineapple
For
Eddie
F.
Real Estate, 803 Walnut Street. Masonry repair is the project. The total project cost, $114,000. The request amount is $15,000. The only question I had about this was if they have the $99,000 in additional funds to complete this project, or if they need to phase it. But if no one else has a question about that, that's fine.
I think it's worth a follow-up, but I would vote to accept it.
Do we have a second then?
I'll second.
What was your question again, real quick?
So the total project is $114,000.
Right.
So our $15,000 is a fraction, a
It's a
small
drop in the
fraction
bucket.
of the total project cost.
Is it gonna actually happen?
So they have, yes, they would have to have $99,000 in other sources of funding to be able to make this project happen in the scope that was provided. Now, as we've seen it for other projects, right? Some of our other projects, they've had to phase it. So our funds may have contributed to masonry repairs on the south side of the building, or right? So my question is, do they have the funds to complete this project in its entirety, or will they need to phase it and our $15,000 contribute to only
And
masonry
what does
repairs on
our
one
fund-
side of the building?
What do these funds go to then, within that larger scope?
Yes, so masonry, the project, the $114,000 is masonry repairs for the entire building. I mean, it's a significantly sized building, right? So it is going to be costly to do the repointing, cleaning, repair work for that entire building, so.
And also, because it's total projects, and we have to be under preventative.
Right.
So So if this is a
Right.
small project, there's just one wall, it's under 25,000, you have to pay for it, which is good part there. The project to complete.
So do we want to, we
It
can,
seems like it'd make more sense to direct the funds at a certain piece, so that just the wage rates go towards that piece, so that the whole project isn't affected.
And we could vote conditionally,
Mhm.
and they could choose a location or a wall or
Mhm.
so on, or we could table it either way.
I think it'd be a fair advantage.
So we
to
want
target.
the proposal to be just for that work, the masonry work on the facade.
well, I think the question is what, are they capable of doing the project in its entirety now? Like, do they have the 99,000 in
Mhm.
matching funds? Or are they going to need to phase it? I mean,
Also, it's over
My
the
understanding is we don't give them the money till the
$25,000
job's done
limit
anyway.
for,
Is that correct? You'd have to go and
prevailing
inspect the
wage
fact
if
that
they
the
do
job
whole
would be
thing.
completed, and then we would give the money. So if they don't complete the job, they never get the money.
but if the difference is, are we defining complete by having one side of the building done?
Mhm.
Or the entire building? Jeff, you had something to say. What were your comments?
Yeah, the whole project then would be over the $25,000 limit, and that would require them to pay prevailing wage if they go for the whole $104,000.
Because we've done that at PACA, where it's gone beyond, and we had to pay prevailing wage on several projects. And it's complicated.
So do we want to
Now,
go
with Sarah
back to
Reed,
these
we
people?
actually allowed them to break it up into phases, and they only applied for $24,000.
That's
Or
exactly,
one
yes.
Can I just ask a point of order then? Because it's the same property, even though they would split it into phases, it would not allow them to apply for 3 additional phases.
Well, no, we actually have allowed that. So we have one grantee in here already that has received funding, completed the project, and submitted a second application because
For the
they've already
same- for
closed
the
out.
same
For the
address.
same property.
Same address.
So I think that if we do it that way, we open ourselves up for this being a $60,000 grant, ultimately for the same
Practically
property.
speaking, the money's already gonna be committed anyhow, there won't be anything left to grant.
Yeah, so to Jeff's point, I
Okay.
mean, we're running out of funds anyways, right? So
Okay.
we've got quite a few applications still yet to review.
Okay, I'm just
Yep.
cautious about, what it kind of lets the camel's nose under the tent a little bit.
So in this case, I'm just going to throw out a motion, and we'll see what you're comfortable with. My motion is to approve this application contingent on Pineapple Eddie's providing clarification on whether or not this is a project they will complete in its entirety as proposed, or if they need to phase it.
Yes, my gut feeling is they have the money. I think they have the money. From other sources.
And it may already be under prevailing wage.
It could possibly be, because they are receiving, Pineapple Eddie's is receiving other sources of funding from other programs.
Mhm.
So we have a motion on the table. In order to move it forward, we would need a second. If there is no second, the motion is dead.
I'd like to ask a clarifying question. If we approve it and their project is completely funded, there's no need to do anything else, correct?
Correct. And actually, if they have the funding to complete the project, no additional
Okay.
is needed. If, however, they only have the funds in hand to do a portion of that project,
Okay.
I would suggest that you solicit a revised scope of work for the file,
Okay, but it would
Do
still
we
be
have
approved,
language
correct?
in
but it
our-
would still be
Okay.
approved.
Do we have language is there specific language that says you have to have the money for your part before we'll give you a grant?
So there isn't, but if we hadn't asked that question of one of our other grantees, they didn't have the funding to do the entire project.
Mhm. And then we would have allocated that funds to a project that ultimately didn't take place, and we would
Right.
have potentially eliminated somebody else who could have done a project.
Exactly.
in a timely manner.
And part of their contract when they're approved, when they sign with the redevelopment authority, is that they're paying matching 10%. So they'll have to pay some way. They'll have to have that before they can
Right.
get their reimbursement.
And get the project done within a one-year
Exactly.
period.
A 1-year period.
1 year.
Actually, they have longer than 1 year. That just has to be under contract by the end of 2024. They have until 2026 to complete the projects.
Oh, why would we do that? In the grant award agreement?
That's ARP language, yeah.
No.
Oh.
We didn't have to do that, though.
Oh, I didn't know
We
that.
could have
Okay.
said that the project has
Had
to be done within
okay.
one, which is what our guidelines state.
Okay, I'm good.
Because that's an extended nightmare.
Right.
Right, we
Right.
don't want people to take 3 years.
No, I
to
don't
get
want them to
projects
either.
done. Per our guidelines, 1 year.
Got it.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
It
I
shouldn't be
agree.
much of a problem with the projects we've had already.
Okay, so are we gonna ask everybody now that does these projects if they have the money for their piece?
It's just a clarifying question.
Well, they're signing a document that says they have the money,
Yeah,
right? The application's saying they have the money.
right. And then plus the.
But you're just clarifying because of the dollar amount.
Right.
Because of the
it's
dollar
5
amount.
times the amount.
Right.
Yeah.
And then plus the contract they sign with redevelopment authority would have that provision in there as well.
All right.
And if not,
No harm, no
if you
foul.
just want to approve as is, that's fine too. Don't,
Can you restate the motion?
so the motion is to approve the application contingent on just getting confirmation from the applicant that they have the funding in place to fulfill the project scope of work within the eligible grant period or allowable grant period, and/or if they do not, to make sure that they provide a revised, smaller scope of work so that the $15,000 can be deployed within the allowable grant period. And I know that's complicated, but I don't know how else to phrase it, Jeff.
Do we need to give them a deadline and say by September 1st, they need to confirm to us that they have the rest of the money? As part of that motion?
Okay, and if they don't have the money,
Because otherwise,
do they just do it as a smaller project? Is that what you're suggesting?
That's exactly. Which is what we did for one of our other grantees already. They don't have to. It's just a large project. And again, if you don't want the motion, make a second motion. That motion can be dead, and make a revised motion.
Do we have enough language in our standard procedure to cover the contingency that we're all concerned about without putting a rider on the motion?
So if we approve the funding, they would still need, they would be under contract to get the project done within the allowable period. And if they do not, then the funds would go back into the kitty.
I'm sort of satisfied with that.
Okay.
their only requirement is to have the 10% match. Forget the rest of the $100,000, right? Their only requirement is to match 10% of the $15,000 they get.
Correct.
Well, but Jeff, we are actually looking at the full project. So when we're making our decision as a commission, we're looking at the project that they're proposing and making a decision based on the project that they proposed, which is a $114,000 project.
Okay, but still, if they don't do the work, we don't give them the money. So if they do,
So I'm going to make a revised motion.
Okay.
So the motion is to approve the grant.
I second.
Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving, please signify by aye.
hi,
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on then, John Thompson. Fantastic. Mr. Thompson, would you like to talk with us?
Aye.
Hello, welcome.
I had my wife resubmit a quote as opposed to an estimate to Chris. Chris, you,
Should be in the new file, should have been uploaded with the file we have. It should be there. We all have technical issues.
I have it on paper, if you can't get it on your computer.
That's okay. I mean, others should be checking as well.
I have a copy here if somebody needs it.
Yeah, here.
I'll share. Oh, this is the porch. I remember that.
So in the folder, I only have access to the original application.
Do you want to look at the copy?
Sure. If
I'll
you-
get it for you, Melinda.
Thank you.
No.
Actually, you know what?
The quote was revised because of cost increase to my contractor.
Okay. So the official quote now is
1510.
1510.
$15,100.
Okay. However, the scope of work has not changed, correct? Is that-
Correct.
Okay, so it's just the total.
Right.
Okay.
I sent you an updated.
And
No, I-
John,
Yes.
how much money are you
It's in
asking
the
of
period on my
us?
phone yet.
The 15,000.
But that's more than the 90%.
Right, so on a $15,100 project, the most that we are able to award is $13,590.
It's better than nothing.
It's a lot better than nothing.
Yeah.
It's $13,590 more than nothing.
Which makes, as the property owner, which makes your required contribution $1,510. Okay. Are there any questions, since we have the applicant here? We really appreciate you providing a revised,
Yeah.
a quote, yeah.
It looks like it's gonna look wonderful afterwards, so
Thanks,
looking
Greg.
forward to it.
I vote we accept it.
Do we have a second?
I second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Congratulations on your $13,590 grant
Thank you.
and your new porch.
And again, my cost is, my portion is how much?
10%.
10%.
$1,510.
Yeah, $1,510, yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. And good luck, everybody.
Thank
Thanks so
you.
much.
Thank you. So let's see. Next, we have Robert Lesueur, 650 West 7th Street. This is a roof replacement. Total project cost is $44,220.39. The request is $15,000. Then the property owner's contribution becomes $29,220.39.
What was the original estimate, please? Again, I'm sorry.
The total project cost is $44,220.39.
Thank you.
Questions, concerns about this application?
This one exceeds the $25,000 limit for prevailing wage.
Any other notes? Does someone wish to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the motion, please signify by aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Moving on to Jason
Foltz.
Foltz, 265 West 10th Street. Repair exterior paneling and stucco. Architectural, primarily architectural features. So the total project cost is $11,700, and I know that is different from what's on the cover sheet. If you review the total on the cost estimate, the total for the cost estimate is $11,700. I don't.
So
the-
11.7, that's the estimate.
Mhm.
That's what we have.
Correct. So if you
Do the math, right.
if you look at his application, so the cover sheet. And of course. The cover sheet states that the project cost totals, I believe, 13,000. Yes, so the total cost for the project is estimated at 13,000, but the one-page estimate that was provided, those totals total 11,700. So we have on page 4, we have the scope of work. Item 1 on the scope of work is 1,100. Item 2 is 3,500. Item 3 is 900. Item 4 is 3,900. Item 5 is 2,300. When you total those 5 items, they total 11,700. We should, I also want to
Is this
know.
something new? Because it's not in my,
I have this one.
but I don't see a quote sheet. I see pictures. Oh, okay, here it is. I'm sorry. All right.
Well, there's also a question though about, so this is just a single sheet of paper, right?
Yeah.
We don't necessarily know the
Right.
vendor. It's not from a qualified contractor.
I see that.
It is an estimate. I'm presuming that he solicited those numbers from somewhere. Whether he spoke with multiple contractors and/or went to Home Depot to price out the materials if he intends on doing some of the work himself. But in any case, I just wanted to make note of those things. One is that scope of work totals 11,700 versus the 1,300 on the cover sheet, and we don't know if he's working with a contractor or if he will do the labor himself and is seeking funding to purchase supplies to do the projects. So, Chris, I don't know if you've had any discussion with this applicant. Okay.
I make a motion that we table this and get clarification from him, because we don't know the amount we're approving.
Can't hear Jeff. What did you say?
He's making a motion to
Then we
table.
table it.
Okay.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion to table, please signify by aye.
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 Okay, motion passes. Next, we move on to the First Presbyterian Church of the Covenant. They are seeking funds to do work at 250 West 7th Street, roof replacement, as well as, well, actually, the estimate is primarily roof replacement. The total cost of the project is $32,945. They are requesting $15,000, and it will contribute then $17,945.
I've moved to accept it.
Second, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, very good. Spencer Dippold, 4031 Trask Avenue. This is door replacement. It is not on, it is not for the door that's on the Trask Avenue side of the home, but on what is it, West 41st Street side. The total project cost is $8,786.30. The grant award could potentially be $7,907.67.
I move to approve it.
Do we have a second?
I'll approve. I'll move.
Any further questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Jeff, that was a vote of yes, correct?
That's correct.
There's a lag.
There is a lag.
We go, it sounds like you're saying no.
I just heard a sound. I
No,
don't
yeah.
know what he said.
It's still
No,
yes.
it's
just
funny.
heard noise.
It's still yes.
It's good.
So Cara DeJohn is the last one, 329 West 9th Street. Exterior painting, repair of architectural detailing, and reglazing of windows. So $18,600 is the total. They are requesting $15,000 and will contribute $3,600.
I move to accept this one.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approving the motion, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, very good. We then, so with the edit, sorry, I have to quickly do my math here. With the removal of the one application, we have approved mark 148,000.
148.
489,
489. As of total or just today?
just today,
Okay.
just today.
Okay.
It's around $500,000.
What's our total to date? Do we have an exact number?
If you give me a hot minute. Yes, so our total approved, if I've entered everything correctly into the Excel spreadsheet, right? That's a
Mhm.
big if. Our total approved is 507,334.17. Don't forget the .17.
So what do we have left in our kitty?
332,665.83.
Okay. Now, is this meeting just for these votes, or are we going to talk about other things?
You can talk about other things, but it was specifically for this.
Okay.
I have not yet heard from anybody about this.
About what, huh?
About any suggestions for the next meeting. I never got anybody's comment.
Well, I think that a very critical issue, besides some of the other process clarifications maybe we need, is what are we going to do about having this wonderful program continue and raising money? And is this same grant, or was this a one-time thing out of some federal pool?
This is the one time the recovery program, ERP. So it was COVID funding, so this is a one-time shot
For this particular,
for this particular.
okay, but are there other government grants out there that,
Not to sustain this,
huh?
not to sustain this.
Okay,
Not to
so,
sustain, we would have to have private funding or city funding of some kind. The city would not, my understanding, the city would not be able to perpetuate the program in their own budget.
right,
So we would have to find private funding of some kind, which there are entities out there that we could certainly
approach, right.
We do have, excuse me, several completed projects already that are widely successful or very successful. We have an enormous amount of need. I'm still receiving applications, even though I'm telling people that we have to put them on hold. There are just an enormous amount of need for such a project. So we have both success stories and we also have need. But we don't have the funds.
Right, so I think we need, to me, it seems like a real important thing that we address that. Otherwise, I guess we'll be absolved.
This project would be, yes, and it'll be absolved anyway once the funding is done. But it does give us catalyst to create a permanent program. I have had discussions in the past with entities such as the Hampton Health Foundation that would be willing to invest some monies. I know there is the Erie Historic Preservation Trust, which has a substantial amount of funding. There are other private organizations. Erie Insurance also has programs that could potentially fund such a program. We just have to target these organizations and create a proposal.
Well, shouldn't we meet about that and maybe make that the focus of an entire meeting?
Sure.
I mean, I think this is doing a lot of good for our town. I can't see why we wouldn't want it to continue.
Incredible amount of money.
It's very uncommon to have money available for these
Yes.
type of projects
Yes,
like this.
we're on the
Right,
forefront.
this was unusual.
This is to my knowledge, if there are any other communities that are doing this out of the ARP funding, I am not aware.
I think it's great that it's such grassroots
It is, and it's very diverse.
and very diverse and open to everyone.
Yes.
So, when do we want to try and get together again?
We can schedule another special meeting for mid-September.
Let's do that.
And then why don't we, can we have it like in a smaller room where we,
If it's available. This was the only room available for today.
well, does everything have to be within the walls of City Hall?
Yes. Well,
What about the
it has to
council
be
chambers?
public. It has to be public, and we have to have streaming available, so.
Okay,
We have these services in City Hall, so it's either gonna be, it's either gonna be council chambers or room 500. Those are the
that would be
options.
nice. Either 500 or the council chambers.
Right, and 500 just wasn't available for today.
Okay, well, so can we make a criteria of the meeting that it be either in the council chambers or in the, next to the mayor's office, right? Is that,
Yeah, I'll send an email and ask what dates are available for room 500.
okay,
Because we can do all the things that we need to do with 500.
Perfect.
Streaming and public.
right,
Thank you.
right, well, great.
So, thank you, Chris, thank you, Craig. So, Mark, I need to revise some numbers, because, yes, my Excel went haywire for a
That's
minute.
fine.
So, today, the total approved,
Yes?
149,
149
631,
631.
4.47.
Josh, 631. Oh my gosh. 139.
No, 149,
149.
631.47.
631.47. Boy, you could not get through dyslexia at
So,
all.
so our,
So this was today's,
that is today's total for awards, and I apologize, I'm not quite sure what I did to screw that up, but the amount approved, this also changes the total amount approved, because there was, when I copied cells, something happened with the formatting. So our total amount approved after today is 545,028.57.
yes, yes, yes.
Amount remaining becomes 294,971.43. So we have approximately 300,000 left. Sorry about that.
That's quite all right.
The
Thank
quick
you.
copying and pasting didn't work well.
That's okay. And then I could not get through this dyslexia. You're saying the numbers to me, and I was really inverting them, like, right as you were speaking them.
Oh, no.
I could see me do it. It's like, how can you do this?
Are we at a point then where we'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn?
Look out for Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur when we
So the next
schedule
meeting-
September meeting. Like, that's always right there.
Oh,
The
yes.
next meeting we have is in,
September
the next
5th.
meeting we have in September 11th. Will be our regular meeting, and we'll deal with the rest of the applications then.
Correct. Correct.
Our next meeting is September.
September 11th, and he was asking
That's-
if we were going to then review the
September.
remaining tabled applications from our previous meeting.
Sure, at the same meeting.
Yes.
And why don't we call our consultants and ask them if they're aware of any grants out there that we don't know about?
I can, but it's also something that I try to keep up with is preservation grants. There are preservation grants out there, none that would fund a program of this magnitude. Most of those grants are for individual projects.
Uh-huh.
You know, some can go pretty high, but most of them are pretty low ball grants. This would need, to create a permanent funding source, we would have to have investors.
Well, and we're all for that. It's just that there's been a lot of unusual things being passed in Congress that have, you know,
Yeah.
perhaps there could be access that we don't know about that somebody else in another community may have figured
Yeah.
out.
And
So
we-
I just thought that since they deal with all these preservation organizations all over the country, they might be worth a
Yeah.
phone call.
We stay on top of that pretty well. We have a new grant coordinator coming who will also be involved with looking for grants for us as well. So we'll have an in-house grant coordinator who will help.
Here at City Hall.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we lost, our one passed away, unfortunately, but we do have others who are going to be, who have already replaced them. And so I'm supposed to have a conversation with them before too as well, about initial grants and things like that.
Maybe if we promise to do a lot of environmental stuff. You know, I mean, you never know.
Yeah, there might be a way to-
I mean,
Venn diagram this on something.
you know.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Seconded?
One second.
All in favor, please signify by aye.
All right.
Aye.
Jeff, we wish you were here with us in person, but we're thankful that you were able to join us via Zoom.
All righty.